Hey, Gritty Kitties. Welcome to another episode of Catty Chats, where we talk to people trying to make things suck less in new and interesting ways. We've got another Catty Chats live featuring candidates running for the U.S. House of Representatives around the country who we need to support so we can bring back accountability and a government that works for the people. Tessa Lynn Hodge is running to represent California's 23rd House District in the U.S. Congress, and Teresa Benitez Thompson is running to represent Nevada's 2nd House District in the U.S. Congress. Now, there were a couple of things that we didn't know ahead of time that they have in common. First, they are both social workers, and second, they are both cat ladies. Our next Catty Chats live featuring candidates will be August 30th, and CATLADYPALOOZA number twoo-za is coming at you Sunday, September 13th with such an amazing lineup. We have independent journalist and attorney Katie Fang, Latasha Brown, co-founder of Black Voters Matter, V. Spar of Under the Desk News, Amanda McGonigal of Cats on a Couch, Trevor Silva of My Cluck Hut, Gwen Levy, award-winning country music artist, but also co-founder of Rise Above Justice Movement, and so much more fun stuff. Go to CATLADYPALOOZA.com to sign up. It is free to sign up and join us, but you have to register in advance and get that link. And please like and share this episode as well as the social media clips so we can help promote these two amazing women working to flip red seats in the U.S. House of Representatives and bring back a little sanity. Do you promise? I'm going to take your silence as a yes. Claws out. Wow. Hey, everybody. Put where you are from in the comments. We want to hear from you if you are visiting us from the districts that these folks are in. Oh, here we go. We've got somebody here, Kelly Clark, who's from Washoe County, Nevada. We have got someone here from Claremont. Beautiful. I love it. Guys, welcome to another Catty Chats Live, where we discuss important topics with people who are trying to make things suck less in new and different ways. And throughout the last couple of months and through the midterms, a lot of these live streams are going to be talking to candidates who are trying to flip red seats or hold on to Democratic seats that may be a really difficult race. And we are going to be asking you, after we talk to our candidates, to stick around because we are going to be doing some live action grassroots stuff to help save democracy, one cat lady, cat daddy, cat folk, or uncatted ally at a time. All right, guys, I am going to bring up to the stage our candidates. We have Tessa Lynn Hodge, and we have Teresa Benitez Thompson, and I'm going to even out these pictures. So that's not good for anybody. Nobody likes that or that. How about that? Well-oiled machine here at Cat Ladies for America, where every podcast is like herding cats. Everyone, please give a big round of applause in the comments section for Teresa and Tessa. Woo! Out there doing the hard work. So just so everyone knows, Tessa Lynn Hodge is from California's 23rd district, which has recently been redistricted from after Prop 50. And Teresa Benitez Thompson is from Nevada, too. And Corey, can you put up the map of California real quick? The rough area of where Tessa is representing as the overlay, or I could do it. All right. So this is not the exact place where Tessa represents anymore, but it's pretty close. After Prop 50, they redistricted California 23, but it is actually rather hard to get a copy of the new map on the open internet. But you can see that she is pretty close there to the border of Nevada as it happens. And then can we see Teresa's district, please, Corey? And there is Teresa up there. Now, too bad if Teresa was in the 4th or 3rd district, they'd be practically next door neighbors. But so we have a real sort of women of the West, women of the wild women of the West. Cat Lady Chats for us tonight. You can take that down, Corey. Thank you so much. And I want to get started. We have a real interesting coincidence that we noticed with our candidates backstage just a minute ago. Both Tessa wave, show you're Tessa, and Teresa are social workers, have social work backgrounds. And so I'm going to ask each of you, Tessa, I'm going to start with you. What is it about social work that makes you qualified to go into politics, to run for the United States Congress?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I am truly a cat lady. I'm surrounded by all of the cat things
I heard a
as we
rumor.
speak.
I didn't want to go here this early. I heard a rumor that there might be a tattoo. That's all I'm saying.
There's two. We'll get to those at the end, but there's
okay,
two.
right. You know what? Like, yes,
but
make people stick around. Make them listen to the
we'll
important
wait till the
stuff
end
before
for the reveal for the cat
for dessert.
tattoos, yes.
Right. You can't have dessert until we eat dinner. Okay.
But yeah, so thank you so much for having me. But social work, I feel like, social work is so misunderstood. People just think it's like, oh, you take children. And social workers, we do so much. We are in every level. We are in micro, which is individual, one-to-one. We are in meso, which is like community. And we are in macro, which is government and like higher, like policy level issues. And so as a social worker, I have done everything from child welfare. I have been a medical social work in my local hospitals. I have done community crisis response. I've done school-based mental health, community-based mental health. I own my own private practice. And I have also worked in policy and legislation for the county that I live in. And so I've done a wide range. And I think that as a social worker, we have a really good understanding of systems. And the government is a system and is a whole bunch of systems working together. And we have an understanding of how those systems impact the individual person. It's literally called systems theory. And that's like the core base of social work. And so I think we are uniquely qualified to go into public office.
There's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of paperwork. Boy, did Teresa's eyes light up when you said systems work. I know all of us got excited when you said systems work. So, Teresa, what is it about social work that you think has made you a great public service? You've been in elected office before, but that continues to serve you and help you serve people.
Yes, thank you so much. So I want to start with my cat, and this is, if you can see him, Cullen.
Yes.
And Colin is a rescue cat in the sense that he rescued us from the fact that we didn't have a cat a few years ago. He moved into the garage, and we noticed there was a cat there, so we left out some food, and slowly over the course of a couple years, he now fully lives inside the house and runs everything. So that is our Colin. And so
breaking news. We did not know Teresa was a cat lady going into this. So
yes,
this is important.
He has 2 dog brothers that he keeps in check. So he absolutely is in charge here. But yes, I've been a social worker now for 21 years, licensed. And hearing Tessa talk about her experience, very similar experience. I started off my career in child welfare, and I did special needs adoption. So working in foster care, finding forever families for kids who weren't able to return to their homes because of abuse and neglect, and then having to find the right fit for them, people who are going to be very supportive of them, help them heal, love them regardless of the mending that their hearts had to do, and provide them with a great future. So I did that for a number of years. The biggest sibling set, because one of the special needs can be having siblings. So I found an adoptive home once for a sibling set of 8. And that was, I think, probably one of my biggest heartwarming moments, was finding a way to keep all of these brothers and sisters together, because they were
and let's get that family
in the world
a trophy.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And my very first kid that I worked with was 4 years old. And when I met her, I mean, I was a brand new social worker. I'd just been licensed. I had just completed my training on the job. I went into the lobby to meet foster mom and to meet the little girl. She came off the elevator. She was holding a daffodil, and she had a little foil on the bottom of it with some water. And she looked at me and she said, "Are you the person who's going to find me my new mommy?" And it was really in that moment where I had done the academic studies, but where I was really understanding the gravity of what it means to be present for people and to help people, and then to follow through with everything that takes to what it really means to help people. I also did medical social work, and so 13 years, both in the community and in a hospital. And when I was in the community for over a decade, it took me through 5 rural counties in Northern Nevada. So in my district, which is a lot of rural areas, you have to understand the environment around a person to understand how that person's going to thrive and succeed, especially if they're in a vulnerable position. So a person in their environment, structures and systems, it all of that has to be hardy. All of that has to be well supported, especially with our federal tax dollars coming back to invest in our own communities to make sure that people have the structure and the tools that they need to be self-sufficient, to make their own decisions, and to thrive and succeed.
I'm just unmuting myself. Wow. So that was, we're seeing it in the chat. That is, those are some amazing stories. And really, that's what I wish we were talking just about that and how we're going to make those people's lives better. And we are, in a lot of ways, talking about that tonight, but we're also talking about sort of political stuff and how come it's hard to make things better for the folks you've been both working with in social work and also just in every level of life. So since Tessa, I'll go back to you. What are 1 or 2 issues that some people might see as these big national issues, but that really impact where you are in sort of central and western California, not a blue area, very much a red area, and how those big picture splashy headline things really affect the people where you hope to represent?
Absolutely. So, and I think so. The big issues that are at a national level, but really do impact my district. And we are in Southern California, but we are rural. So if you're at all familiar with Southern California, we are the Mojave Desert. It is hot, it's dry. There's big, wide open areas of land where there's nothing. And so the 2 big issues at the national level that are affecting my district are the ICE detention facilities and ICE in general, and then also healthcare. And these were honestly the 2 big reasons why I decided to run. So at the time that I made the decision, I was working part-time in my own private practice, and then I was also working full-time for a nonprofit that does medical and mental health services in rural and underserved areas. And so I was a mental health provider for them in a rural area, which is about 30 minutes from where I live. And but it's in the district. And almost immediately upon Trump 2.0 being inaugurated, my clients in both community-based and in my private practice began coming in just in distress, worried about, the talk about ICE and the ramping up of ICE, worried about what was going to happen with their health insurance, worried about tariffs and if tariffs were going to cause their small business to close down. All of these various things that we have seen just absolutely wreak havoc over the last year and a half at this point. And as a mental health provider, I can I can validate your feelings. I can help you build coping skills. I can provide a safe space, but it does nothing to touch the actual systemic root of the problem. So I felt like I needed to do more for my clients, more for my community, and that's why I decided to run. And specifically, the 2 issues that were brought up the most were health insurance and healthcare access and ICE. So my district is actually home to 2 ICE detention facilities.
If I could ask you, this was actually in the, I had thought of this, and I've worked with a number of groups that are working to shut down various ICE or keep from opening various ICE facilities. And so this viewer was also thinking the same thing. What ICE detention centers are near you? And then we'll get to Teresa after we finish with Tessa on this.
So we have the Adelanto detention facility, which is actually about 15 minutes from my house. And then we have the Cal City Core Civic facility, which is in California City. And that's about an hour and a half from where I live in the district. So we have two. And I think it's also important to mention that the current congressman for our district is actually personally invested in Geo Group, and Geo Group runs the Adelanto facility. And, you know, the Adelanto facility has denied access to Democratic Congress people coming and providing oversight, but they let my opponent come do oversight, and he left saying,
I don't like to give these guys airtime, but tell me this guy's name, please. I can Google it later. I can't remember. What was it?
It's Jay Olbernalty. And so of course he's going to come out saying everything is great, everything is fantastic, because he personally has money invested in Geo Group. He stands to profit from the detention of people. And so, you know, we have seen actually in recent weeks ICE out in larger numbers. We actually had one of our neighbors, they literally live 4 minutes from us. The father was detained literally just at the corner of where I live. And he's currently being held in the Adelanto detention facility. So ICE is a big issue. And when my campaign is, you know, we're trying to support families in the district. And then the other issue is healthcare. Being in a rural district, we have limited access to healthcare. We often have to drive, depending on where you're at in the district, you sometimes have to drive 2 hours to reach a specialist. And if there's an accident on the freeway, good luck, because that's going to delay you by an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours getting to your appointment. And I see a question, are rural hospitals impacted by the cuts? Yes. So we actually only have 8 hospitals in our district. The average congressional district has about 12 hospitals. We only have 8. 4 of our hospitals are actually at significant risk of being closed because of the cuts in the Big Beautiful Bill. So 50% of the hospitals in our district, in a district that is already struggling to meet healthcare demand, are going to be closed. And so that's the other big issue. And that's an issue nationwide.
We had another interview a few weeks ago with one person, Levon, running in North Carolina, in part of Alamance County, North Carolina, which is an hour or more outside of Durham, and then actually District 1 in Maryland, where I live, but that's on the Eastern Shore. It's a very rural area. There's chicken farms out there. There's all kinds of stuff out there. And all of these, everything you're saying about healthcare is true now, and it's gotten worse, and it's what everyone is not waiting for, but after the election, because of the incredibly cynical way in which they structured that Big Beautiful Bill, a lot of additional deep cuts are coming. And a lot of these places are going to be closing down after the election because they are scumbags. Sorry, that was me. Nobody else said that. Only I did. And just so, thank you. Just so you know, you have a fan out here saying, yay, Tessa. Maria Teacher saying, yay, Tessa. And then Teresa, so over to you. If we were looking at one or two of the biggest sort of splashy headline issues, how do they affect very specifically the people in your district?
Yeah, and I'm going to start with talking about some of the federal cuts that are coming into the community, because in Nevada, we have very much a landscape that is similar to what Tess is talking about. You could see from the map, Nevada Congressional District 2 is it's one of the biggest districts that's out there, and lots of rural communities. We've got Washoe County, where I live, is kind of the bigger urban center. But then you'll have much of the district, which, is, you've got to travel an hour to get to one city, 2 hours to get to another city. It's a lot of drive time, a lot of beautiful public lands out there, beautiful public lands, but it just makes for big drives. And so whether it's in talking with our food bank, we've the food bank in Northern Nevada overlays exactly the congressional district. Almost every single office has had an increased number of people walking into the food bank asking for help. They've got more people walking in with food needs than they did during COVID. And this is at the same time that a lot of their federal resources are being cut. And in Nevada, 27,000 people in recent months were pushed off of the SNAP assistance, food assistance. And so we have people who have these incredible needs, and we don't have any way at the state or local level to backfill those needs. Our budgets here are very thin. Our city budgets are struggling. Our county commissioners are struggling across Nevada. Most counties and local municipalities are in a place where they're cutting positions and having to let jobs go. So they have no capacity in order to try to meet these needs, where federal dollars are being impounded, withheld, pulled back, or otherwise slow walked back into the district. We see the same thing happening with the Medicaid cuts. 30,000 Nevadans just on the horizon losing those cuts, more to come in more years. And so once again, those are typically federal tax dollars that come into the state, and how Medicaid is funded, it usually supports a lot of our program because we can braid those federal dollars with our state dollars exponentially and in a really smart way to make our penny sink and help more people when we leverage and braid those dollars. And so with fewer of those dollars, it means the system overall is in trouble. We saw this administration take a tax on funding $15 million to University of Nevada, Reno. It took extensive lawsuits and legal actions to get those dollars flowing, and those were on research dollars. There isn't really a part of the district that hasn't been hit in some way. Loss of federal dollars to support services through Nevada that help us prevent fire in fire season, that help us manage fire. All of those cuts are very hard on us. All of those cuts are ones that our local communities simply can't backfill and meet the need. Going to what Tessa said about healthcare, absolutely one of the biggest needs and issues here. Rural healthcare is in a spot where throughout the state of Nevada, we're seeing rural hospitals be very vocal and very loud about what's going to be coming, about the fact that it's going to be very hard for them to keep their doors open because of a loss of payer sources. And that's problematic. All of Nevada Congressional District 2 is a mental health desert. So we lack the number of providers and professionals that we need to meet the big mental health needs that we have. And whether you're in Washoe County or you're in Winnemucca or Elko, when you have a loved one that is experiencing mental health problems, and these problems can be chronic. You can get them well managed, but they can be chronic. It's getting hard. I hear from families in rural areas about how much they would like support. They just want to get their loved ones help, and they feel really vulnerable when they don't have anything in their community to help them. And the closest thing you can do is drive 4 hours to get to your providers in Reno, or have to go out of state to Salt Lake. And then you're just hoping you're still in coverage and a network, and you're likely not. And so those are the biggest issues that are top of mind when I'm out talking with voters. They're telling me, my nonprofit is losing these federal dollars, and so we're going to have to lay off staff. This state program, our federal grant dollars haven't arrived yet. So we're trying to figure out what to do because we have cash flow issues if these dollars don't come in. I mean, everywhere. We're hearing it just everywhere. I hear it all the time, and it's really distressing.
Well, so far, I am ready to put both of you in charge of everything. So for what it's worth, you are so incredibly well versed, both of you, in those important issues. I want to first of all, we saw some of the mentions in the chat. I would be remiss if I did not mention that the Reno Tahoe chapter of Cat Ladies for America is having a watch party today. and they recommended Teresa to us. And then also our friends at Inland Empire, the Cat Ladies for America chapter, Inland Empire chapter, borders Tessa's district. They're in California. That is also a red dot. So they have a lot in common, feeling like, no, we're not that part of California. And so, and I just want to tell everyone here watching, so big round of applause to our chapter captains and our chapter members out in both those places. But also, if anyone watching this has a, somebody running for Congress or even an important state legislative seat or even Senate who you would love to see us interview over the next 90 days or so in one of these events, by all means, you can put it in the chat. But even better, and we got Queen City CLFA. I know they got some people in Ohio. They would probably, that's Cincinnati. They'd probably like us to interview. You could also email us at meow. It's adorable. Meow at CATLadiesForAmerica.com, all written out. You can also find that on our website at CATLadiesForAmerica.com. So if anyone here watching today has candidates who are fighting to keep a blue seat blue or fighting to flip a red seat like both Tessa and Teresa are, then by all means send us your recommendations. And if you help us reach out to them, even better. I just wanted to mention that and give our shout outs too. I'm going to turn the tables, not turn the tables. I'm going to change the vibe just a hair. So, Tessa, you're in California. As I just mentioned, people think a certain thing when they think California. Teresa, you are in Nevada. People think Las Vegas. I know Reno is the biggest little city in the world, or the biggest little kitty in the world, as our chapter says. But what, Teresa, do people not know about your district that they should know that's great?
Oh, you know, lots of people, they think of Vegas when I tell them from Nevada, and I'm like, we have the most beautiful scenery across northern Nevada. I mean, on the western part of my district, you've got Lake Tahoe. It is the jewel of the state. It's beautiful. I've spent so many summers up at Lake Tahoe, and it's gorgeous. And then as you drive out I-80 to the eastern part of the state, when you hit West Wendover, as you drive that, we've just got beautiful landscape. When you get into rural Nevada, you can see bighorn sheep, you can see all kinds of wildlife and animals. It's just beautiful desert. And for people who like desert landscape, it's the best. I think it's absolutely the best. We've got a beautiful, beautiful lands up here.
I have a friend from high school who lives out there, and I owe her a visit. So
come on out.
Come on out. See me. And then Tessa, I will ask you the same. What is something people need to know about your district? That's great.
So, Teresa, I'm gonna have to disagree. I think my district has the best desert scenery. I mean, we might have to fight about that.
Sounds like a thumb war is about to ensue.
There we go. We can do that. I got really small hands though. You might win. So we actually have part of Joshua Tree National Park in our district. People will say, I mean, it's just the desert. Like there's nothing in the desert. I love the desert, and I'm born and raised here. I've lived here my entire life, but I truly, truly love the desert. And I think it's honestly just so cool because like you look out, right? And you're like, there is nothing out there. There's just like some little bushes. It's dry. It's hot. Nothing could survive out there. But when you really look at like desert ecosystems and desert landscape, there is so much life. There's the turtles and the lizards, and there's a place off of Zizix Road that has these little putfish. It's the only place in the world where you can find these little putfish. And that's in my district. And, there's the cacti and the Joshua trees, and there is so much life that thrives in the desert. And coming from a really tough childhood, I think I resonate so much with the district or with the desert because I thrived in a harsh landscape, and I came out of a harsh landscape, and I became someone who helps others. And I, have been married for 16 years, and I have this life that I love. And the desert, it seems inhospitable, and it seems harsh and tough, but there really is so much beautiful life in the desert when you really stop to look at it. And sorry, that's my little tangent about the desert. But I agree. Like we have beautiful landscapes.
No, this is your motivational speech that we're working on now. I mean, that was a beautiful metaphor and absolutely is going to stick with me and everyone watching. So no need to apologize, either of you. And that's amazing. It is funny how much you guys have in common.
Something that Tessa's saying is like, yeah, our soil is tough here. But it, like, to me, that makes, especially for Western women, especially Western women of the desert, there's a grit and there's a toughness that is out here. Like nothing's going to knock us down very easily and we're going to bounce up quick. Like there's just, there's a resilience here that I don't want to say you can't find anywhere else, but I think there's this kind of unique resilience that comes with learning to survive in our kind of environments.
That is chef's kiss answers, both of you. It's not a contest, but both of you win. And so what's a fun fact about you, Tessa? We know you're a social worker. We know you know how to do all the stuff. You could be running this joint if people would just give you the keys to the bureaucracy. So you too, Teresa. So, but what's a fun fact that's not social work and not running for office? Besides sitting in the desert.
Okay, I'll say, so I say this with like all the love. I think my husband and I really messed up when we married each other, because there is nobody in this relationship responsible enough to say no to rescuing another animal. So we actually, the other night, for like 3 nights in a row, I just heard the softest little meowing in our backyard. And we have a catio in our backyard and it like attaches like to our bedroom window. And I heard this meow, this softest little meow outside of the catio, like 3 nights in a row. And so my husband put our cat trap out. And the next morning, teeny, tiny, itty bitty little kitten asleep in the cat trap. And there's nobody to say no in this relationship. Somebody please help us. We've really made a giant mistake.
Similar situation. By the way, just not for nothing, I had written this, and I'll ask Teresa too. Are there any, if you think of any pet rescues or cat rescues in your district in particular, that you recommend to people? By all means, let us know, and we can highlight them as well. You don't have to think of it right this second. Okay. And then Teresa, what about you? What is a fun fact about Teresa?
Yeah, but I'll keep it with the pet theme. So we also have birds here. We have at present 4 birds, but we used to have 6, sorry. 2 have moved on to their heavenly, wings in the sky. So at the same time, we've got our cats, our dogs, and the birds all living together in harmony. So even though Cullen is a master hunter, because we back up to a ditch and there's all kinds of wildlife out there. So he'll bring in birds, right? I mean, he's a cat. He loves to do that, but he does not disturb our birds at all. And so somehow we've managed to like arrange it so that we've got cats, birds, and dogs all living in harmony. And
well, now you really are in charge of everything.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm just trying to get my 3 cats to live in harmony. Just the 3 cats. No additional, distractions. That is really amazing. We're going to wrap this up soon, but first of all, I want to just remind everybody that we want you to go to their websites. We want you to go, and if you are in their district or not, you can volunteer for them. I bet they have phone banks that people can join from anywhere in the country, or there's other ways that you can help no matter where you are. And so we're going to be getting to that in the second half of this live stream, but I just want to remind you that whether you're in their district or not, there are ways, and you can also donate money if you have that. We know that a lot of people are not in that position, but if you happen to be in a small race, every little bit of, especially if you're running against the entrenched candidate or the party of the former candidate, it really, every little dollar helps. And so by all means, we will help you with that information after we talk to our candidates, finish talking to our candidates as well. But I wanted to ask each of you, you actually have both seem to have a lot in common with each other. So by all means, I hope you become best friends after this, if nothing else. But we hope that you will keep in touch after your campaigns and after you're in Washington. I live in Baltimore, so I'm happy to come visit anytime your new offices. But I want to know what it is that this event, this live stream, what we didn't cover, what we didn't say, one or two things that are really important to you about the race that you're in and or the people you represent or what they need that maybe we didn't think to ask. And Teresa, why don't we start with you?
Yeah. So I think what's important for people to know is I'm trying to flip a seat. It's a seat that's been held by a Republican for 14 years. So it's an open seat, but there's some really interesting dynamics happening in this seat that make this seat absolutely up for grabs and absolutely in a position of kind of a perfect storm of different things coming together for us to be on a strong trajectory to win this seat. So my opponent lives in Vegas. He's renting a house in Reno. He decided to rent a house in Reno and move his campaign, which he was campaigning in a congressional seat in Southern Nevada. He moved his campaign up here in order to file for the seat and to run for Congress. So he's up here because he thinks we're easy pickings. That's why he's renting a house in Reno to qualify to run for this race on the ballot. And I'm telling you, Tessa, you probably experience this in your community. I don't mind. I love people coming to live in my own backyard. I know why people move here. We've had a lot of people move here recently. So I'm not against the fact that he's not exactly from here, but I do take objection to the fact that this is not his home. That there's a difference between having an address somewhere on a street, like a domicile, and calling someplace your home and making it your home. This is not his home, and people here do not like that. He is not being endorsed by the current congressman, Republican congressman. The current congressman's been very vocal that he will not endorse the Republican and that he's not even willing to speak to him.
Hold on. Can you say that again more slowly?
The current congressman, Republican, is not endorsing my Republican candidate. He was very clear and very vocal that he won't talk to the guy. And the nicest thing he can say about him is that he's, quote, not his cup of tea. So, and it's because he's got such extreme, I think he's not, he doesn't have a home here. And so what we hear the current congressman, saying is, he said he runs a scurrilous campaign. He's surrounding himself with some really interesting people, and we're a lot of things in Northern Nevada, but we're not about hate, and we're not about people who want to show up just to use us because they want to get to DC. That's not what we're about. We want real Nevada, authentic Northern Nevada voice representing us. That's what's going to get us across the line.
Wow, that is really, and I mean, I guess thank you to that one Republican congressman who in the entire country who had the guts to call a spade and say, this is not a good guy. And not only does he not live here, it's not that he moved here recently. He literally doesn't keep a home here, but he's such a bad guy that I am not going to endorse him. That is really saying something in these times. Thank you so much. And then Tessa, same to you. What is it, one or two things, either about the specifics of your race or what you need or what's going on in your district that we didn't touch on already?
Yes. So I am also trying to flip a seat. This is actually a seat that has never been held by a Democrat. And people hear that and they're like, oh my gosh, like, what are you thinking? And I'm like, well, I'm thinking that it's about time. And we are actually really excited by what happened in the primaries. So in the primaries, we actually held the incumbent under 60% of the vote for the first time ever. And we know that in the general election, Democrats do about 3 to 7% better than in the primaries. And he's sitting at about 57%. So if we do about 3 to 7% better, that puts us right there. We also had a 50% increase in voter turnout in this primary than we did over the last presidential election. That is huge. That's huge. And so voters are motivated. He has been held under 60% for the first time ever, and people are mad. So again, or actually, we talked about this in the pre-show and the backstage. But the incumbent is a MAGA Republican. He is endorsed by Trump. He is the 10th richest member of Congress at $100 million net worth, and he has his own private jet. He lives in DC full time. So he has a residence here, but he lives in DC full time. And meanwhile, our district has a higher rate of poverty than both the state and national averages. And I am born and raised in this district. The hospital that I did medical social work in was the hospital that I was born in, was the hospital that my grandmother was an RN in for 30 plus years. So when I say that I have roots in this district and I know this district, I know this district. I have worked with families on street corners when they have people in their family in crisis. I have sat in family members' living rooms working with them and during some of the toughest days of their lives. And he is making decisions about what to vote for families in this district from a boardroom in DC. Meanwhile, I'm on street corners and in living rooms and in hospital rooms working with everyday families in this actual community. And so you talked about, every donation is helpful. Going up against the 10th richest member of Congress, every donation is really helpful, guys.
No lies told. No lies told. But you know what? I really believe in retail politics, especially at a state or congressional district level, and meeting humans in real life. It's not that you meet everybody, but you get to the point where you're meeting people and they know a guy who knows the guy who was the guy you met, sort of thing. Yep. And that kind of word of mouth part is really important. And you can't get that from a boardroom in DC. And so we are, if you haven't already, you should check out my friends at our friends here, friends of the Cat Ladies at Can't Win Victory Fund. It's can'twinvictoryfund.com, org, both, one of those things. They work very specifically with people who are trying to win, flip red seats to blue and so forth. So just my little take, even though I know you're well underway. Guys, this has been my privilege to talk to you, and I am so glad. I hope you will keep us up to date. If you ever write a Substack or something about what's going on in your district, I hope we're happy to publish it and put it out there to our 30-something thousand Substack subscribers. And when you win, I hope that you will keep us in the loop about how you are trying to fix some of these problems. It's not going to be easy until we have a new president, but I think there are things that can be done. And before we let you go to the Action Cats portion, and nobody leaves in the audience because we've got important Action Cat stuff for 15 or 20 minutes to do. But before we go, after the end of each of our interviews, we like to do a little claws out meow. So it's like 3, 2, 1, claws out meow. All right, so I'm going to count us down. You guys up for that? You're both cat ladies. What a lovely surprise. And again, and
I wore
forgot.
print.
And your leopard print. I love the commitment to the bit. I love it. All right, and so we're going to do a 3, 2, 1, claws out together, meow. And, hope you get it right. No, I'm just kidding. There's no messing up. 3, 2, 1, claws out. Meow. Thank you so much, everyone. Big round of applause. Thank you so much to Teresa and Tessa.